listening to Crash Course Muso, and welcome to a new series of interviews with some great friends and guitar players. And what this is going to do, this is going to open up a whole new world to you by getting other guitarists' opinions and views on what they like to play on the guitar, and they're going to share a few pearls of wisdom with you. And today with me I have friend and superb guitarist, Mr. Ross Griggs. Welcome, Ross.
No problem, Phil. Yeah,
thanks for joining us, mate. Really appreciate you joining us today. What I want to ask you is obviously you've been playing the guitar for several years now. What was it what or who was it that first influenced you into, okay, this is it, I need to play the guitar, I want to play guitar?
Okay, well, firstly, my dad tried to get me to play when I was about 7 or 8.
Oh, okay.
And just gave me an acoustic guitar, showed me a few chords. I wasn't really interested. At that point, it wasn't, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Gotcha.
A few years passed. Incidentally, I still have that guitar in my studio, the original guitar, so it's probably worth a couple of bob now.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's beside the point. So it was in the Boy Scouts, actually. I was about 13 or 14, and somebody suggested that we ought to form a band for a gang show.
Okay. And
since my brother was already a drummer, I decided to volunteer, and all of a sudden I was playing rhythm guitar in a band.
Okay.
You know,
so you sort of happened into the playing. It obviously, you had a plan, it was a good idea to start playing, but then that was it. You were in a band, and it was just working. Yeah,
it was. It was. There were no lessons as such. I mean, a guy called Nigel actually showed us a few chords, just 3 chords to play a number, Rock Around the Clock. That was the first number we played. So I was in a band from day one, which was absolutely brilliant, because the kind of pressure was on to learn things quickly, because you knew there was a performance in about 6 weeks.
Because you were in a band. And what did you learn? Like A, D, and E, the three.
No,
chords?
I learned it was E, A, and B7.
Okay, so there you go, guys. Just three chords, which kicked off Ross's guitar career. Okay,
absolutely.
Cool. That's great. Thanks for that. Can you remember the first thing you successfully played on the guitar?
Going back to the original experience, it was Rock Around the Clock.
Oh, okay.
The E, A, and B7. I mean,
right.
I actually picked up the chords pretty quickly, and I had loads of encouragement from the particular guy, Nigel, who was sort of showing us the basics. And you know, he was full of praise, although looking back it was very basic what we were doing. I mean, that was enough for me. We were playing a song.
So were you just strumming through the chords? Did you have to learn riffs, or were you just strumming through the
No, I just strummed through the chords.
Gotcha.
We had another guitarist who played a riff.
Right.
Basically this sort of shuffle thing as well.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, great. When I finally found one thing that really worked for me, that was my aha moment, okay? Mm-hmm. And I knew then that this was the Holy Grail for me. There was a future in my guitar playing. Okay, did you have a similar aha moment? Was there one particular thing that you learned and you thought, this is it, I'm going to be a guitarist? And if so, can you remember what that was?
There was. I mean, even from the early days, I just had this feeling that that's what I wanted to do. You know, I no longer wanted to be a footballer. That was kind of, you know, I probably wouldn't have managed it anyway.
So straight away when you picked the guitar,
I was
felt natural.
Absolutely transfixed by the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
I just couldn't stop. I just wouldn't put the thing down, to the annoyance of everybody around me. But I remember maybe a year or so passed, and I just used to listen to so much stuff. I mean, I'm self-taught.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there is such a thing as being self-taught, because you know, if people say, how did you learn? I say, well, I'm self-taught. The other answer to that is some of the best guitarists in the world taught me.
Sure.
You know, people like, at the time, you know, old school players like Rory Gallagher, Bill Nelson from Bebop Deluxe, fantastic guitar player, the guy from the Allman Brothers, Dickie Betts, I think that's his name, and various other players. I was listening to them, and I thought, there's something that they're doing in common. What is it? What is it? And I kind of worked out this pattern, and I just thought, they're all doing similar sort of things,
right? And
it's transferable across the guitar. And I later worked out that it was sort of pentatonic, major and minor pentatonic scales.
Cool.
And I didn't at the time. I just associated with it with a particular shape on the guitar that everybody seemed to be using.
Gotcha.
So that was it, really.
You saw this common theme throughout.
Kind of cracked it.
A few guitar players that you admired and liked to listen to, and that was it for you.
Yeah,
you found
very sort of bluesy, very melodic kind of approach. I mean, people like Richie Blackmore. I mean, I was particularly into a band called Wishbone Ash, and a couple of great guitarists, Andy Powell, he's still running the band, and a guy called Laurie Weisfield.
Oh, right.
Very tasteful players.
Yeah.
Really melodic, and that's where it was for me. You know, it wasn't the flashness, it was the melody.
Because you very much have that style, don't you? Of you know, you make really good use of a handful of notes. You know, which if I was to explain you as a guitar player, you know, Ross comes across as a very tasteful player, which you'll see. You know, we'll play through something.
Very kind of you.
Right, it's true. You know, it's what you do with just a few notes, which is really good. So, did you get this from these players? Did you see that they were?
I did.
They weren't flying around all over the place. They were just
I mean,
some emotion there or something.
Whether I'm just lazy, I don't know. But I used to several guitar
you
players.
are.
I am lazy. Clearly, I am the laziest. I'm not the greatest, the best, but I am the laziest guitarist.
Cool.
Eric Clapton was. I used to call him Slowhand. I mean, I was never particularly into Clapton actually, but there are other guitarists I admired a little bit more. People like Ritchie Blackmore, but he was a great technician. The guys from Wishbone Ash, you know, there was never anything that they played that I thought was beyond me technique-wise, which is probably why I like them. People like Jan Akkerman from a band called Focus, Dutch band, phenomenal player, but a lot of what he did, I just thought that's way beyond me. Yeah, and I'm not even going to try. I'm not
pretty technical stuff, you know, isn't it?
I don't want music to be a race, and like I say, I'm lazy, economical. Let's use that term.
Yeah, good one. Yeah.
I'm economical.
Economical.
Be in many ways.
With your economical. Yeah. Good word.
Yeah.
Okay, Ross. This is a question I get quite a lot from students. When they want to work out a new song, they always want to know, how can I work it out quickly? How can I get to the end result? You know, here's me. Okay. Here's a new song, whether it's a chord or a riff or a solo. So what's your routine for working out new stuff? Now, you've been playing for 30 plus years, okay?
Yeah.
Which is a long time. You've got a lot of experience behind you. But when you approach something that's new to you, it's still new, right? Whether you've been playing for a year or 10 years or 30 years, you've still got to go through a process of working out. Sure, I mean, obviously Ross has got a few more tricks of the trade because he's got that experience behind him. But there's always that approach to a new song. You still have to sit through it. So for you, Ross, what is it that you work on first? How do you go about, to share with our students here, how can you go about coining it in a phrase as to what your routine is?
Okay, well, in terms of routine, it's all about, I suppose, depending on the length of the piece that you're trying to work out, it's about sort of chunking it down. You know, you don't have to think from start to finish and keep practicing that same thing over and over again, making the same mistakes. Just take it section by section.
Okay.
Whatever you can digest in any particular frame of time, just work on that and until it's right. You know, don't practice it till you can get it right. Practice it till you can't get it wrong.
Sure. Okay.
That's you know, the professional advice.
Great advice. That you're really good. So if you were to let's use a song as an example. If you were to play Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison, okay, it's a pretty basic chord strum, but obviously it's got that classic.
You're not going to ask me to do that.
I'm not going to ask you to do it. No.
Yeah.
But if you do that, would you work on just the intro first until it was, you know, note perfect or close enough, or you know, where's the threshold for you? I've nailed it. It just.
I suppose it varies, but you know, you've got to listen to yourself. You can't. You don't let yourself get away with things. Don't, you know, just because you think it's all right.
Yeah.
You know, it might be all right to move on, and that varies from person to person. Everyone's, you know, it's kind of subjective. People will be at that place at different points, but I think you've got to be true to yourself and think, right, is it, you know, am I comfortable with that? Am I comfortable to move on?
Yeah.
Or am I taking mistakes with me? You know, there's no point in doing that. You've got to make sure you're happy before you move on, and I think the progress will be quicker if you do it in chunks rather than trying to do the whole thing. You know, the running before you can walk kind of method.
I agree. Okay, so just to elaborate a bit on that question, especially from a beginner's perspective, obviously you have a keen ear for picking things out and working stuff out. Now, I know that you folks probably sitting at home thinking, actually, I can't do that. Obviously, you know, I haven't been playing that many years. How do I get to that point? So, let's just use Pretty Woman as a reference. If we're working that intro out, for a total newbie to sort of listen to that, where do they start? What would they listen for? What would you listen for with your experience?
Okay.
You know, what is it? How do you go about working out what the key is, or how do you know what the first note is to play?
Well, I suppose, I mean, it's a question of listening. You've got to listen to it and compare with what you're doing. I mean, you know, the whole kind of music world is based on comparison. Mm-hmm. You know, you would listen to it and try and digest it, either record it on something or listen to it back on a you know, iPod or whatever, and try and play along and gauge whether what you're doing has any sort of association with what you're hearing, and just making sure that you're in the same pitch. That's the best advice I could give, unless you have those musical tools and you already know a bit of theory and you know what key it's in. It's all about the listening, really, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah, I agree, okay. When you pick up the guitar, at a gig or just at home, is there a riff or a favourite lick or something that you often return to when you pick up the guitar?
I'm a serial doodler, really, Phil. I'd kind of just inclined to just, just play around like a 12-bar blues thing. I'm just making it up. But
so it literally is. It's constant improvising for you. You're just playing around, listening for new sounds and experimenting all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed that was around the A minor pentatonic blues scale there.
Indeed,
Can we just deconstruct that a little bit to give our viewers a little something? So I know you're very economical with your notes, but it's the style, the passion, or the emotion that you put into each note. I know you're very passionate about this kind of approach to guitar playing, which I love, by the way. And it's for all those people watching at home. It's very important. Everybody wants to play fast and achieve a certain speed, which is great. And I wholly recommend that you do start off slow, as I always say, and work up speed. Try and play fast, because it's good for you to be able to play fast. But I think you'd agree, above and beyond, feel and emotion and passion of the notes that you play are far more important. Because of the nature of the instrument, the guitar, the way it sounds. Yeah,
it is. It's a cliche to say it's an extension of what's going on in your brain, but it should be. You should be in control of what you're doing, because there's an emotional side to music, as you said. You want to move people.
Sure.
With your music.
Yeah.
You need the physical capacity to articulate that, really. In the same way that you when you speak to people, if you tell somebody you love them or you don't like them, it can be pretty direct. But if you want to express emotion through the guitar, you've got to have the same degree of control, and it is a universal language. So you can make somebody cry or attempt to make somebody cry with what you play, and it's a weird kind of transference of your emotional energy to them when you play something, and they sense the emotion you're trying to sort of evoke. It's odd, but
I've experienced that, though, haven't you? In music, it just hits you. It's just something about
Absolutely,
it. That is the power of music, isn't it? And what a great instrument to sort of portray that, of the guitar, because it has, you can play chords, but it has that emotion from the lead side of things. Can we just grab a handful of notes, sort of, around a 12-bar blues in A for you guys at home, and just and see what we can do with it? I mean, can you just explain to us the kind of thing that you're talking about for our viewers?
Just simply using the notes in the minor pentatonic in A, starting with the A note, which is the 7th fret on the 4th string, moving up to the 3rd string, 5th fret, then 7th fret, and then if you want to actually finger the note, then the 9th fret. But if you want to bet, what I did, I bent the string, what's called a tone or a whole bend, up to the. But for me, that note, that's unfinished. That note is not. It's not saying what I want it to say.
Okay, why is that? Give us an example of an unfinished and then a finished note.
Okay,
so the guys at home know exactly what you're talking about.
This, if I put it in the context of a phrase, it might be better. So.
Pretty uninteresting to listen to. Pretty
maybe, but it still demands a certain skill to play that. But
indeed,
to take it to the next stage, you try. Which is a completely different language. That's what that note is.
So what exactly did you do there? Because obviously we've got a lot of guys at home who are attempting these. They're going for these notes. But they sounded like how you first played it. So what's the difference? What's the magic? Share it with us.
I think
need to know.
I think it's having it in your head in the first place. It's being able to sort of not necessarily sing it, articulate it that way, but it's thinking about the note and not just doing the physical bit, but it's having the control. I mean, I did a slide actually into that.
I saw that.
I think
Yes, you
from
did,
from the 5th fret on the 4th string, slide up to that. And then if there's time, I generally give a bit of vibrato just to finish, just to sort of
vibrato is bending the string, shaking the string literally up and down a bit. Okay.
In the same way a singer.
Yeah. You know. And do you hear this riff before you play it? Are you hearing?
Yeah. All the time.
You're hearing that? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, another tip for those people that may be a little bit more advanced with their lead playing is that sometimes you can let your fingers do the walking, and because you know something will sound right, that doesn't mean to say that you're in control. So what I tend to do, if I ever get in that situation, think, blimey, I'm running away with myself.
Yeah.
I'll actually start singing it as well. You know, almost scat singing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Literally doing that because it controls you. It means that you're in control of the guitar. Your fingers aren't doing the walking.
Yeah.
Your brain is doing the talking.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So sorry to go back to that was a slide, and then that was, I think, and that was actually sort of like damped, choked, I think some people call it.
Yeah.
Which is like a left hand.
So you're just killing it there with your rest of your fingers. Okay.
And then the same thing with the D there on the 3rd string, 7th fret.
Yeah.
Before the bend. And that one is to get that note. See, that's not quite there, and sometimes you can overcook it. But you've got to be in control of that. I mean,
sure.
I do it. You know, everybody does it. You never get things perfectly 100% of the time, but practice. It will certainly help get rid of the few times.
Okay, so I mean, given that there's literally you're just using sort of 4 notes there, 3 notes, and then you're bending to an extra note.
Yep.
Yeah, but you're putting vibrato on one of the notes, you're sliding to another one, and you're damping another one. So straight away, there's 3 techniques there before you even bend. Just across those 4 notes, there's quite a lot there to work on. Can we just use those notes over like a 12-bar blues in A, like an A, D, and E, just to see how you would use them? Because I think the guys at home really get something from that as to what you're doing. I'll just play you a backing chord here. I'll give you an A, and you play the phrase that you do over that, and we'll just sort of talk through it. So I'll give you an A7 here. Okay, we gave you a riff.
Okay.
Okay, nice. Now I'm assuming the same will work again over a D.
Yep.
Okay, and if we were to do an alternative to that over a D, using almost exactly the same notes, I mean, what would you do? Would you bring the end down, or would you start in a different place? Okay, so do you see what Ross did there? Just literally by just bending that note and not bending it and holding it up, letting the big vibrato, bending it up and just letting it bounce up and down, just give it a nice wobbling effect. And again, it just totally changed the whole thing. So it's really
it bluesed it up a bit.
You're getting really value for money, aren't you? You know, the few notes that you're doing. Yeah. So we went back to the A again. You'd use. So if again now over the E, would you do the same thing again here?
Yeah. See, they're all there. All the notes are there. I mean, obviously transferable up the neck as well. But you know that again, that's very, very, very economical. But hopefully, it worked.
Yeah. Well, I think that what it shows. Thanks for that, Ross. Because it really does show that just by practicing with 2 or 3 notes, there's a lot of value for money there. You know, you're going to get a lot from your practice time. And I think it's really good advice to be able to take those few notes and add those techniques to it, add some vibrato to a note, practice your bends on 1 or 2 notes. You know, don't have to practice them on 22 notes, just a few. And also a few slides. That was a nice little bonus there, just to sort of flavour it up. So yeah, great. Thanks for sharing that with us, Ross.
No problem.
Okay, so Ross, a lot of our members are playing for the very first time.
They are. Yeah, I wondered when we were going to get to this kind of crack-up thing. Would this be the appropriate time to tell about the importance of not playing loads of notes?
No, what's the importance of not playing loads of notes?
Well, the importance of not playing loads of notes is, you know, don't be a tosser. Just play one note. Make her cry with that one note, Johnny. Make her cry.
Okay.
Not that one. That one.
No.
If you can make her cry with that note,
yeah,
fantastic. If you can make her orgasm as well, then you know you've arrived as a guitarist.
So that's the pinnacle, guys. That's what we're aiming for.
You feeling it, Johnny?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Johnny, people are not going to know who Johnny is, are they? If you could give just one piece of advice to our students, what would it be?
Switch the hearing aid on, then listen.
Okay.
Listen properly to what you're trying to do, listen to what you're doing, and also make sure that you can walk before you even attempt to run.
Great advice.
Metaphorically.
Okay. So use your ears, basically. Use your ears well. And do you mean, just to elaborate on that, you obviously listen to what others are doing and try and work things out for yourself and pick things out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Listen to good people.
Notes. Yeah.
Or listen to people that aren't playing very well and decide that they're not playing very well.
Okay.
And remember the reasons why they're doing that.
Gotcha. Okay. Great advice. Brilliant. Thanks, Ross. Really appreciate you taking the time out to come and join us here at Crash Course Muso.
No problem.
Value your time. Very, very kind of you. And if people want to find out more about Ross Griggs, where can they go?
They can put Ross Griggs into Google. They'll either get me or a guy who plays, I think, basketball or baseball or something in Hertfordshire.
So there you go. If you want to know about a guy who plays basketball or baseball or guitar, just pop Ross Griggs into a search engine. Or do you have a web address as well?
I do, yeah. It's rossgriggs.co.uk.
There you go. Okay, it should just come up on the screen now, rossgriggs.co.uk. Brilliant, Ross. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, okay.
Buddy, it's been real great fun. I hope you guys have got something from this at home. This is Phill Mason and Ross Griggs sign off Crash Course Muso, and we'll see you again sometime soon.
Cheers.
Shall we play out? Shall we?
Give us some stuff then.
Phil and we'll,
yeah.
Here we go, guys. Take care. See you again sometime soon. 2, 3. Oh yeah, feeling the blues. One more for the road.
That was an economical film.
One more for the road. Mr. Ross Griggs. Thanks, guys. Take care. See you soon. Cheers, Ross.
No problems.